My sister was pregnant with my husband, and she told me my husband deserves someone fertile and not some unfertile woman like me. But she did not know it was my husband who was infertile, and the child she was pregnant with was not my husband. I, 31F, never thought I'd be sharing something like this. Better I am, sharing my life situation with strangers. My world came crashing down when I found out my sister, 28F, was pregnant with my husband's child. At least, that's what I thought at first. It all started about 6 months ago. My husband and I had been trying to conceive for over 2 years, with no luck. We'd gone through countless tests and the doctors couldn't find anything wrong. They kept telling us to be patient, but it was taking a toll on our relationship. My sister had always been the perfect one in our family's eyes. She breezed through college, landed a great job, and seemed to have everything together. I, on the other hand, struggled with anxiety and had a hard time finding my place in the world. But I thought I'd finally found happiness with my husband. One night, my sister called me, sounding excited. She said she had big news and wanted to meet up. I agreed, thinking maybe she'd gotten a promotion or was moving to a new city. When we met at our favorite coffee shop, she couldn't stop smiling. "I'm pregnant," she blurted out. I felt a bit jealous, but tried to push it aside. "That's great," I said, forcing a smile. "Who's the father?" Her smile faltered for a moment. "Well, that's the thing. It's complicated." My heart sank. I knew that tone. It was the same one she used when we were kids, and she was about to confess to breaking something. "What do you mean, complicated?" I asked. She took a deep breath. It's your husband." "What?" I managed to choke out. "I'm sorry," she said, not sounding sorry at all. "But these things happen, and let's face it, he deserves someone who can actually give him a child, not some unfertile woman like you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own sister, pregnant with my husband's child, and now she was insulting me? I stood up, knocking over my chair in the process. People turned to stare, but I didn't care. "How could you?" I hissed. "How long has this been going on?" She shrugged. "A few months. Look, I didn't plan this, okay? But maybe it's for the best. You two have been trying for so long, and nothing's happened. Maybe this is a sign." I stormed out of the coffee shop, ignoring her calls. My mind was racing. How could my husband do this to me? With my own sister? I drove home in a daze, tears blurring my vision. When I got home, I found my husband in his home office, working late as usual. Without thinking, I burst in and confronted him. "How could you sleep with my sister?" I screamed. He looked up, confusion written all over his face. "What? I've never slept with your sister. What are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me," I shouted. "She told me she's pregnant with your child." His face went pale. "That's impossible," he said quietly. "Oh, really? And why's that?" I snapped. He took a deep breath. "Because I'm infertile. I found out a few months ago, but I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid you'd leave me." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "What?" He pulled out a folder from his desk drawer and handed it to me. Inside were medical reports confirming what he'd just told me. According to the tests, there was no way he could father a child. My anger turned to confusion, then to a strange sort of relief. My husband hadn't cheated on me. But that meant, "If you're not the father," I said slowly, "then who is?" My husband shook his head. "I don't know, but I think we need to have a serious talk with your sister." The next day, we invited my sister over. She seemed surprised to see us both there, looking calm and united. When we confronted her with the truth about my husband's infertility, she broke down. Through her tears, she confessed that the real father was her married boss. She'd been having an affair with him for months, but when she got pregnant, he refused to leave his wife. In a moment of desperation, she'd concocted this story, thinking it would solve everyone's problems. "I thought if I said it was your husband's, you'd raise the baby together," she sobbed. "And I wouldn't have to deal with the fallout of my affair." I was stunned. The sister I'd always seen as perfect had made a mess of her life and tried to drag us into it. Part of me wanted to kick her out and never speak to her again, but another part of me saw how broken and scared she was. My husband and I exchanged a look. Without saying a word, we knew what we had to do. "We'll help you through this," I said, taking my sister's hand. "But no more lies. We're going to figure this out together." Over the next few months, my sister told her boss's wife the truth, which led to a messy divorce. She decided to keep the baby and raise it on her own, with our support. As for my husband and I, we started looking into adoption. The whole ordeal had shown us that family isn't just about blood relations. It's about love, trust, and forgiveness.